TV 6 and Amazon Fire TV 6 and on Zingo TV on Chromecast and all smart TVs 2016 forward. Please remember to download both the BarnBurner and Zingo TV apps in their respective app stores. Both are free on both iOS and Android devices. While you're using, please remember to rate and leave a comment so we know that you're enjoying them and getting the most out of your usage. So on this episode of the NWHL Cooldown, we have a lot to get through in terms of news, in terms of potential signings, and we have so much to get to. So that being said, let's get right down to it. I was going to have Erica Ayala, a voice of the NWHL, on today. That didn't fall into place as I had hoped, but that is okay because we have so much to cover that we might be able to get through this full hour. So that being said, let's get right down and crack into it. So that being said, we start with, I think we're going to start with the NWHL, actually. Their latest partnership from January the 6th, which I haven't really touched on much since. So as such, the National Women's Hockey League has come to an official partnership agreement with Instat Hockey for the upcoming bubble season in Lake Placid. Instat is used by league and federation offices, coaches, scouts, and management as a video analysis, statistical data, and communication tool for coaching, player development, and scouting purposes. At the team level, coaches and players can receive detailed game-by-game reports, statistical breakdowns, and emailed web links, all corresponding to data-specific video of both the team's actions and individual player actions. The league and its teams will be able to use Instat to edit video and create customized playlists. Now, in a statement from Michelle Picard, Deputy Commissioner of the National Women's Hockey League, she said, "Each game of the NWHL's sixth season will be critical in the battle for the Isabel Cup, and Instat will be an invaluable tool for all of our teams. With Instat, coaches will receive team statistics, individual player data, and the corresponding video of the data for each game, including time on ice, shots, scoring chances, face-offs, hits, saves, and more advanced stats such as Corsi, expected goals, and more. The league and its teams will also have the enhanced ability to scout players from various levels of women's hockey throughout the use of Instat's video library of games at various levels of women's hockey." Now, in a statement from Mark Yates, who is the director of North America for Instat, he said, "This is an exciting opportunity for Instat to be able to work with the NWHL. We have a tremendous amount of respect for what this league has been able to accomplish in a short amount of time, and we look forward to seeing the continued growth and success of the league in the years to come." Now, in another statement from Yates, he goes on to say, "Partnering with the NWHL is a terrific achievement for us as a company too. We have spent the last year growing our female hockey database in terms of video availability and data, and we have signed more clients at every level of women's hockey than ever before. To cap the year off with this partnership is the icing on the cake of a successful year for our group, and we know the NWHL and its teams will benefit." So, to give you some background on Instat Sport. Instat Sport, founded in 2007, is the leading provider of performance analysis services in football, soccer, basketball, and ice hockey. Ice hockey clients of Instat range from the top North American and European professional, collegiate, junior, and youth hockey leagues and teams in both men's and women's hockey. For more information regarding Instat, visit the company website, www.instatsport.com, or view educational videos and webinar series episodes by visiting Instat Sport on YouTube. So Instat Sport, I actually learned a couple months ago now that they were working towards a partnership with the National Women's Hockey League. Again, the deal just announced on January the 6th, but something they've been working on a while. Discussions have been ongoing, so it's really great to see this and another step in the right direction after locking down Megan Chaika and Stathletes, who again have their outreach in terms of the stats side of things, more so than just the video, and their outreach to the NHL leagues overseas. So again, with Instat, and given that they've also are a broad-reaching company and can offer services like this, is an awesome step for the National Women's Hockey League. And there will be video coaches on hand for this season, at least for some teams, as I've been told that there is one for Toronto. I'll get into that more tomorrow on 6 and Sticks right here on the BarnBurner TV network and Zingo TV channel 250. So that being said, let's continue onwards because we have a lot more to get to. So that being said, there are a couple of pending signings still waiting to be announced as of right now. We start with the Metropolitan Riveters, who put in their newsletter that both Zoe Zissis and Alexa Aramburu are both signed and with the team for the upcoming season. So that would bring their signing number up to about 24. Meanwhile, the the Connecticut Whale have added 2 more players, supposedly. Again, none of these are announced yet. And that would be Aaron O'Neill and Anna Zoomwinkle, both of whom were with the Minnesota Whitecaps. Again, this is still pending confirmation of announcement. But that brings their number, once officially confirmed, up to about 22. So some really solid players. Anna Zoomwinkle, a young player from Middlebury, someone I've been keeping tabs on for a little while now, someone who will definitely make an impact. Meanwhile, I mean, Aaron O'Neill, I think, is the only one who's not entering as a rookie of the 4 being signed by the 2 teams respectively. So we continue to wait on that. But while we continue to wait on that, we have more news from the Metropolitan Riveters. So that being said, let's get right down to it. So, all right. We start with a press release, and this was made available on January the 8th. The New Jersey Devils are sending PK Subban, Nico H.E.R, and Jack Hughes to root for the Metropolitan Riveters when the NWHL's bubble season takes place in Lake Placid from January 23rd to February the 5th. The 3 stars of New Jersey's NHL team will not miss any Devils games, of course, showing their support of the neighbor NWHL team. The Devils have arranged to have cutouts of Subban, H.E.R, and Hughes in the stands at Herbrooks Arena during the NWHL season and Isabel Cup playoffs. In a statement from Rebecca Morris, a veteran and all-star defender for the Riveters, as well as a New Jersey native and lifelong Devils fan, she said, "I'm used to watching the Devils from the stands at Newark, so it will be cool to have the rules reversed. It means a lot to me and my teammates to have the support of our male counterparts in the NHL and from the great state of New Jersey." The Devils are being represented by 3 of their best. Subban is a superstar defender, while both H.E.R and Hughes were first overall selections in the NHL draft. Now, in a statement from Kate Whitman Annis, the general manager of the Metropolitan Riveters, she said, "The Riveters organization is thrilled to welcome the New Jersey Devils to the NWHL bubble. With the support of these incredible NHL players, we look forward to bringing the Isabel Cup back home to New Jersey." So, Riveters fan faces are available to order until January the 15th. Just a polite reminder, as that is Friday. You can get that along with your, your member passes at nwl.zone/tickets for a very special and, unique, I think, certainly, season 6. So that being said, the New Jersey Devils are not the only one to support the Metropolitan Riveters in the stands for the upcoming season. With that said, I also go on to allude to the fact that while I may have not touched on this last week, matter of fact, I think I did one of them at least last week, is that the New York Rangers will be supporting both the Connecticut Whale and the Metropolitan Riveters in the bubble season coming up. Meanwhile, what's also unique to note with that is that stars from the WNBA's Connecticut Sun and New York Liberty will support the Whales and Riveters during the bubble season as well. So let's start with that one while I continue on, because the Riveters are getting a lot of support, which is really nice to see in what are certainly really unique and challenging circumstances, again, for all of sport, never mind the NWHL. So in an extraordinary illustration of professional athletes showing their support for women in other sports, several members of the WNBA's New York Liberty and Connecticut Sun will be represented by fan faces in the arena during the NWHL season that begins later this month in Lake Placid. The Liberty will participate in the Fan Faces campaign to cheer on the Metropolitan Riveters and all 120 athletes of the NWHL competing at the historic 1980 rink, Herbrooks Arena. The Liberty players in the stands will be Sabrina Ionescu, Lacia Clarendon, Jasmine Jones, Jocelyn Willoughby, and Amanda Zahui B. I hope I said those right. If I did not, my apologies. So, the Liberty wholeheartedly believe in women supporting women, said New York Liberty CEO Kaya Clark. As the NWHL begins its historic bubble season in New York, we will be proudly rooting for the league's success, the Whale, Riveters, and all of the teams. The Connecticut Sun players who will have their photos and seats acquired by the organization will be Brianne January, Kyla Charles, Dewana Bonner, and Jean-Kel Jones. Again, any of those who I may have not properly pronounced, my apologies. Certainly trying my best. So that being said, in a statement from Amber Cox, Vice President of Sports at Mohegan Sun, she said, "On behalf of the entire organization, we are thrilled to support the Connecticut Whale and the NWHL as they drop the puck on the upcoming bubble season. We wish them nothing but the best of luck. There is nothing we love to see more than a professional women's sports league like the NWHL succeed and grow. I encourage our son and National Lacrosse League New England Black Wolves fans to support these incredible women by tuning in, buying merchandise, and purchasing tickets for a future season in their respective home arenas. Now, again, fan faces remain available for the public as well up until January 15th, that being Friday, using nwhl.zone/tickets. Now, in a statement from H.E.R, general manager of the Connecticut Whale, she added to this, with only 4% of sports media coverage dedicated to women's sports, it's essential that women's sports leagues stand up for one another. In the NWHL, we take every opportunity we can to promote coverage of our fellow women's leagues, and what the Sun, Liberty, and WNBA players are doing to support our season in Lake Placid is another amazing example of athletes amplifying our space in sports and media. So that kind of gives you a briefing there as the support continues to come out in tremendous ways. And I'm not even done yet with the Riveters. So it goes to show you that the support that they're able to attract from around the professional community of women's sports is really incredible. And so with that, we continue onwards. So the NWSL Sky Blue FC will be also rooting for the Riveters come Lake Placid in just about 11 days time, I believe, if I've done my math right. Again, this is the National Women's Soccer League of world-class athletes and incredible role models based in the state of New Jersey have acquired a dozen seats for the upcoming NWHL bubble season in Lake Placid to root for their friends and neighbors on the NWHL's Metropolitan Riveters. Highlighting the importance of women supporting women, the Riveters and Sky Blue FC have always collaborated and amplified each team's efforts on the playing surface and in the New Jersey community. Representing Sky Blue with cutouts at H.E.R Arena beginning January 23rd are GM Elise Lahou, and 11 of the soccer team's top players: Nicole Baxter, Carly Lloyd, Kayleen Sheridan, Amani Dorsey, Paige Monahan, Evelyn Veens, Estelle Johnson, Fiomo Anumanu, I hope I said that right, Mikola Zerboni, Gina Lewandowski, and Midge Purse. Again, greatest apologies if I pronounce any of those wrong. Think I got most of those right. So let's continue on. In a statement from Elise Hugh, general manager of the Sky Blue FC, she said, "Any chance you have to support our local arena teams, or local area teams rather, we are all for. This is a super fun initiative so we can be there in spirit supporting the Rivs in their 2021 campaign. Having been through a bubble situation ourselves, we know how important it is to feel support from back home and from our fans. We hope this helps provide a sense of a home rink advantage." Riveters fans' faces remain available to order up until Friday, January the 15th at nwhl.zone/tickets. The Isabel Cup champions in 2018, the Riveters seek to win their second championship when the NWHL presents its entire season and playoffs in Lake Placid between January 23rd and February 5th. Now, in a statement from Madison Packer, captain of the Metropolitan Riveters, she said, "This is such a powerful example of the best of women's sports. Female athletes do not have the same exposure or representation as their male counterparts. To have the faces of these strong, influential women of the NWSL Sky Blue FC in the stands at Lake Placid for our NWHL season will be monumental. It not only brings light to their successes, but also shows support for other women in the world of sports. I am pumped to look up and see these game-changing athletes watching us and look forward to continuing to tune in to support Sky Blue in their run for a championship this upcoming season." Now, their assistant captain, Kira Dostal-Arena, also chipped in saying, "There's nothing more motivating than support from fellow female athletes. Sky Blue FC, I can't wait to see your faces in the crowd at H.E.R Arena." So, again, a huge show of support for the Metropolitan Riveters, and I think that really speaks to the gathering of women supporting women, and why that remains so significant, because like H.E.R said, who has been around the WNBA, the NBA, and now the NWHL, that it's only 4% that women's sports get coverage of. That's insane when you look at men's sports, from professional being the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, to even such things such as the World Juniors, which just happened on TSN, and these are young teenagers. So it just goes to show you that the significance of women's sports is really starting to grow. We're seeing the NWSL on CBS. We're seeing the WNBA, which was carried on between Sportsnet and TSN, and now the NWHL on NBCSN, and hopefully a network in Canada before the tournament gets underway. So huge show of support. Thank you to the WNBA, the NWSL, and the NHL for supporting the Riveters. So that being said, let's continue onwards because we have much more to get to. We go now to the Minnesota Whitecaps, who had some news of their own. So as we continue to go forward there, first off, I think we're going to touch on a new release from the NWHL. I'm just going to check this. I think this was actually published really late. Looks like this was just published really late. So that being said, we go into their newest one. So okay, here we go. Head coach Dean Evison, Captain Jared Spurgeon, Zach Parise, Matt Dumba, Kevin Fiala, and every player on the Minnesota Wild will be represented in the stands of H.E.R Arena when the 2019 Isabel Cup champions, the Minnesota Whitecaps, battle in the upcoming NWHL bubble season in Lake Placid. In the spirit of One Minnesota and in the latest example of their continued support of the state of hockey's NWHL team, the Minnesota Wild organization has purchased 24 fan face cutouts showing the Wild's thoughtful commitment to hockey as a game for everyone. The Wild will have their 23 players and Coach Evison sign their fan faces and auction them after the NWHL season. The proceeds from the auction will provide scholarships for all girls' Little Wild Learn to Play program in the fall of 2021. Now, in a statement from Jamie Spencer, Executive Vice President of Business Development for the Minnesota Wild, he said, "We have been very proud supporters of the Minnesota Whitecaps since their inception in 2004. We wish the Whitecaps the best of luck during their 2021 National Women's Hockey League season, and we will be cheering them on as they try to bring the Isabel Cup back to the state of hockey." Now, the passionate support from our friends in the Minnesota Wild is not only huge for the Whitecaps, but for everyone interested in women's hockey, said Whitecaps captain Ali Thunstrom. As young players growing up in Minnesota, my teammates and I looked up to the players and the organization, hoping to be like them someday. And now that we are, it's so special to see the Whitecaps encourage and amplify us with their significant platform in the hockey world. Young players, boys and girls, now have two professional teams they can aspire to join. The Whitecaps thank the Wild for their support, and we wish them the best of luck as they start their NHL season. Let's bring the Isabel Cup and the Stanley Cup to the state of hockey in 2021. We are #One Minnesota. So again, for the Minnesota Whitecaps fan faces, again, remain on order until January 15th. You can find those at whitecaps.universitytickets.com. So again, a huge showing of support. Meanwhile, other news on the Minnesota Whitecaps end. I don't think they're done just yet in terms of roster spots, given that a few were lost. However, I will note that until that's done, make sure you are tuning into the latest episode of Tee It Up. That's available on YouTube and Spotify. Audra Richards joined Brooke Avery and Lindsay Eastwood for an all-in NWHL discussion ahead of the bubble season in Lake Placid. So that is now up at T_It_Up on Instagram and Twitter, and you can find them Tee It Up on YouTube and Spotify. So that's it for the fan faces side of things. So we're going to continue to move onwards now with that. So before we kind of move onwards with anything else, actually there is one other fan face thing. So let's do that, and then we'll start going smaller stuff to big. So we start off with the Buffalo Beauts in that respect. John Buccigross from ESPN is going to be in the Beauts cheering section in Lake Placid for the upcoming season. There is no press release, but do note that he will be in the stands for the Buffalo Beauts. So while I'd like to be able to say more about that, that's all I've got. So, something to keep in mind. Anyways, let's move on. So the Connecticut Whale, who have, much like the Buffalo Beauts, have done a great job adding on small business partners to help benefit both sides, being the team as well as these, small business companies. So they added a new one yesterday, being January 11th, and that is the Salad Master Independent Authorized Dealer. So if you're looking for inspiration to cook and eat healthier, tastier, more nutritious meals at home, be sure to check out our newest small business partner, Eric Kleinbach, ambassador and senior dealer with Salad Master. And you can visit them at saladmaster.com, I believe that is. And the way their mission statement is, we change life. So certainly something to keep in mind. Now, something that some of you perhaps might be asking is there relation to Grace Kleinbach, who is a player on the Connecticut Whale? That being said, it appears as if there is. So just another really cool show of support. And I think that that's really special. The father of Grace Kleinbeck getting the support from the team and working with them in conjunction ahead of the season. Just, something else that's really special as we continue to go through these challenging pandemic times. So let's move on now. We're going to go now to the Boston Pride. It looks like we're going to go all around the NWHL today. Wow. So let's, or almost around the NWHL actually. So let's get right to it. As we move to the Boston Pride, Haley Moore, currently the president of the organization, was named yesterday as the vice president of hockey operations for the American Hockey League. So the press release from Springfield, Massachusetts reads as is. American Hockey League president and chief executive officer Scott Howson announced today that Haley Moore has been named to the position of vice president of hockey operations for the AHL. Moore will be responsible for overseeing the league's on-ice operations, including management of the AHL officiating program and the league's disciplinary process. In a statement from Howson, he said, Haley has extensive experience at every level of hockey and will provide outstanding leadership in her role with the American Hockey League. On behalf of our board of governors, I am pleased and excited to welcome her to the AHL. Currently president of the Boston Pride of the National Women's Hockey League, Moore will begin her duties with the American Hockey League on February the 8th, following the conclusion of the upcoming NWHL season. With the Pride, Moore manages all hockey and business operations of the organization. She previously served as general manager of the club, guiding the team to a 2-year record of 34-1 and an Isabel Cup championship in 2016. From 2017 to 2019, Moore was the deputy commissioner and director of player development for the National Women's Hockey League, overseeing all hockey operations and playing an invaluable role in the growth of the league. She also has administrative experience as director of girls hockey for the East Coast Wizards Youth Hockey Association in Bedford, Massachusetts, and as commissioner of the Eastern Women's Hockey Conference. So in a statement from Haley Moore, she said, my career has been fueled by a passion for development, so I'm thrilled to be joining the American Hockey League, the premier development hockey league in the world. For this enormous opportunity, I want to thank Scott Howson and the AHL's Board of Governors, and I look forward to working with everyone in the league. I also want to acknowledge the owners, players, and staff of the Boston Pride and my colleagues at the NWHL. I am immensely proud to have been a part of the league for its first 6 seasons. A native of Wakefield, Massachusetts, Moore was a 2-year captain and 2-time All-Ivy selection playing at Brown University and skated professionally for the Boston Blades of the Canadian Women's Hockey League, as well as in Switzerland. She later served as an assistant coach for the women's team at Harvard University and as a development camp skills coach and on-ice director for USA Hockey. In operation since 1936, the American Hockey League serves as the top development league for all 31 National Hockey League teams. Nearly 90% of today's NHL players are American Hockey League graduates, and more than 100 honored members of the Hockey Hall of Fame spent time in the AHL in their careers. So let's get into the reaction now, because I think that is certainly something special to kind of go through and a rundown memory lane at the very least. So with that said, we start with Anya Packer, the head of the National Women's Hockey Players Association. She said, so unbelievable for women in hockey. Haley Moore, you are consistently paving a way for women in the hockey world. Proud of all our work together and cannot wait to watch you continue at the AHL. Hashtag women in sport. Hashtag she can, she will. So messages of empowerment were all she was getting, really. We go now to the general manager of the Buffalo Beauts, being Nathaniel Oliver, who said, very happy for you, Haley Moore, one of the finest in all of hockey. I'm very proud to be your friend and colleague. Ivo Mocek, head coach of the Metropolitan Riveters, then said, huge congratulations, Haley Moore. The AHL is lucky to have you on board. So that was not it, of course, because, she's just such an impactful person. And this just goes to show that women can get somewhere in professional sports. And so the Boston Pride said on behalf of the whole organization, we are so proud of you, Haley Moore. We wish you the best of luck on this amazing opportunity. It goes without saying, once a member of the pack, always a member of the pack. So here's what Haley Moore said in a more extensive messaging via Twitter. So she said, could not be more excited and grateful for this opportunity. It's a testament to everyone who's encouraged and supported me, especially my incredible family. Thank you to my parents for driving me to rinks all over the map and letting me shoot pucks in my first communion dress. So she continued on to say, I want to thank everyone at the Boston Pride for becoming my second family. To the owners, players, staff, volunteers, and fans, your passion has helped fuel me through these past 6 years of growth for women's professional hockey. We are not done yet. To my colleagues at NWHL, I have immense respect for you and the work you do. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with you, and I can't wait to see what you accomplish together next. 6 years ago, Danny Ryland set out to build a league to provide more opportunity for women in pro hockey, and look where we are now. Danny, I am forever grateful for your vision, leadership, guidance, and friendship. You built a platform that empowers. Thank you. Hashtag women supporting women. So, again, the congratulatory messages just continue to flow right in. It kind of shows you the impact that she made, and that even though Miles Arnone and his ownership took over for the Boston Pride, they didn't kick her out. She continued to help grow the organization as president. So certainly something special. And she's not going to be easily forgotten. She's helped shape this team, and it continues to show on a daily basis. And I think that many of these players would agree. Mallory Suliotis said, "Congrats, Haley Moore. You have given so much to the NWHL and the Boston Pride the past few seasons. Women's hockey has continued to grow and thrive thanks to all of your work, dedication, and your passion. Sad to see you go, but the AHL got a good one. Take care of her for us." And with a couple of cheery faces. So again, this is a really special thing. These are unique times, but seeing that one can climb the ladder of professional women's sports despite the challenges of the pandemic, I think really speaks volumes, and is something certainly to take hand in hand with. So that being said, let's continue onwards, just because we've got some more to get to today. So that being said, there was an article on NHL.com recently put out with regards to Saroya Tinker, who is a rookie of the NWHL and the Metropolitan Riveters. And so for the last couple of months, she's been using her platform to speak out against racism, tell her own story, because as we've seen throughout this pandemic, there's also been a great deal of social injustice and, misunderstanding, and that's led to some violence in parts of the US, some rallies, some protests. It's really all just been I don't know, a turning point of a year, really, I think is probably the best word I can probably coin off the top of my head. So Saroya Tinker has tried to be part of the fix of that. And so she recently spoke with William Douglas, who does some excellent work with writing the Color of Hockey blog, which he's done for the past 9 years. So for some context, Douglas joined NHL.com in March 2019 and writes about people of color in the game. Today, he profiles Saroya Tinker, a rookie defenseman for the Metropolitan Riveters of the National Women's Hockey League. So let's get into the article a little bit. Saroya Tinker plans on packing a full suitcase for the 2021 National Women's Hockey League season, which is going to be played in a bubble in Lake Placid, New York from January 23rd to February 5th due to concerns surrounding the coronavirus. In a statement from Tinker, the rookie defenseman said, "I think I'm probably taking paintbrushes and canvases just because we've been told we've got a lot of alone time and I paint in my spare time. I'm also bringing along my social justice t-shirts and my other advocacy t-shirts to put on during the games to wear and represent and show that these issues still matter, and this is what we're fighting, or what we're still fighting for." The 22-year-old, who was the number 4 pick in the 2020 NWHL draft, has quickly become one of the league's prominent voices for diversity and inclusion and social justice, using her new status as a professional to publicly speak out against racism in hockey and society and share her bittersweet experience of being a Black woman in a predominantly white sport. So she said, "After being drafted, I kind of found that I have a new platform and following. After playing hockey for so long, I didn't really love the sport anymore, but I also recognized there's an area for me to help girls behind me and help girls that I felt like when I was that young and didn't have that mentorship or those friends at the rink." Tinker has transitioned her activism into action. She started her own mentorship program, which currently has 5 girls ages 11 to 17, and also recently joined the board of the Columbus Ice Hockey Club, an affiliate of the NHL's Hockey is for Everyone initiative, and is working with its girls hockey team. "I mentor them based on whatever they're going through, whether they need help with recruiting and contacting coaches, or if they're having trouble finding allies on their team, or they're not sure how to talk to coaches about racially charged and just all around how to develop themselves to reach that level they want to reach." Tinker didn't envision having this much on her plate after graduating from college, but then she never imagined that she would still be playing hockey. Now, in 4 seasons at Yale University, Tinker scored 31 points on 5 goals and 26 assists in 121 games as a stay-at-home defenseman and led the team in block shots as a sophomore, junior, and senior. However, she said her passion waned, crushed under the weight of years of being subjected to racist comments and attitudes from coaches, opposing players, teammates, and fans. I felt I didn't have many allies on my team at Yale, Tinker said. She credits Mark Boulding, who was hired as Yale's coach in April 2019, with helping reignite her love for the game. Boulding said it was a matter of communicating and listening. We feel like we have a diverse team with players from a lot of different countries and nationalities, but in the grand scheme of things, hockey is still a very predominantly white sport, Bowling said. So some of the issues that Tinker and the others had was just listening time. What's going on? What do you think? And give them more involvement in trying to fix maybe what was broken or not feeling right. When Tinker graduated, Bolden suggested that she turn pro, and the Riveters are glad that she did. They are counting on her to help improve the defense, which allowed 91 goals in 24 games last season, third most in the NWHL. Last season, the majority of goals scored against us were from in front of the net area, and we were missing that size and strength there, Riveters coach Ivo Mochek said. Boulding thinks Tinker, 5'9", will thrive with the Riveters because she knows, or rather, she slows the game down. She thinks it, and she's imposing with her tall frame and strength. Now, Tinker is ready to prove them right. In preparation for the season, when she wasn't painting portraits of popular figures like singer Lauryn Hill and the late rapper Tupac Shakur, she was working out or boxing with her boyfriend, Dante Jean, a quarterback for the University of Guelph. Now, Tinker is from Canada. I should point that out. Something to keep in mind. So let's move onwards. Tinker said she's looking forward to starting her professional career in Lake Placid and thinks that having all 6 NWHL teams competing under one roof for the Isabel Cup will help boost the league. I think it will be all around a good experience just to be around other players like myself and to promote women's hockey within the bubble and gain that level of respect in the fan base we need. I think the bubble can help us to do that. So, a really empowering message from someone who has certainly faced a lot of adversity and is looking for changing times, and she has certainly been a leader within the NWHL, which really doesn't have many women of color, something that the NWHL has seen on and off. The last one is probably Blake Bolden, member of USA Hockey, now a member of the PWHPA, when she was, I believe, with the Buffalo Buttes. So she's trying to kind of fix the society we're in because, again, the society we're in has seen a lot of protests against the Trump administration. We've seen a Capitol Hill riot just last week. We've seen, during the electoral ballot process, we saw a lot of turning tables, I think is the best way I'll put it. So to kind of try and get people back in the right direction and to more so come together than divide with all this hate speech and violence and all of that. Soraya Tinker is trying to use her platform to change that and also be a leader for the young ones who are literally witnessing this firsthand, as both someone who is Canadian, therefore the girls, the young girls back home here, as well as those within the, the youth Raiders organizations and the NWHL Junior League, and really just all little girls who are aspiring to professional sports one day, whether it be the NWSL, WNBA, and WHL, so be it. So, I think that really speaks volumes, and we're going to get more into that in just a little bit. So, that being said, I think that's going to do it on that note for today, because again, we have a lot more still to go through in terms of stories and whatnot, while the upcoming season continues to piece together very slowly. But again, we're seeing some really great stuff from the National Women's Hockey League all in all. I think that's more so the important takeaway. And so seeing that the players are speaking out and using that platform that they can says a lot about where we're going and what we've experienced, to say the very least. So anyways, they're going to continue to advocate for the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we're all going to get through this together. The challenges, the struggles, the injustices, we just have to overcome it. And so professional sports are supposed to be serving as somewhat of a distraction. However, that being said, the players are just like us, are human. So when you look at the NHL using their bubble platform along with the NBA and WNBA for social injustice this past summer, the NWHL is not forgetting that, and there will be players kneeling of all colors, white and black. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all in this together. It doesn't matter what you look like or who you are. That's not the message to be perceived. So NWHL is certainly heading in an important direction, and they will make sure that these are noted features, as things continue to progressively get, worse and or better. Again, there's just a lot of different things going on right now in the world. And so, while there's, Trump impeachment being talked about and all this, it's the advocacy that I think really stands out, to try and rally people together rather than let the separation continue to divide people apart, whether it be because of their skin color, who they are. It's not necessary. So anyways, let's move on because, we've got more with about roughly 15 minutes left. So Mike Murphy wrote a story on the icegarden.com recently, what storylines to expect in Lake Placid, and he used his byline to say one word: narrative. So let's go on. Believe it or not, we are just weeks away from the 2020-21 NWHL season beginning in Lake Placid, New York. The structure of hockey in the bubble will be drastically different from any of the previous 5 seasons in league history. In addition to presenting logistical obstacles to the league itself, the 15-game regular season will be a new challenge for the teams and their players. The 2019-20 NWHL season was the longest to date with a 24-game schedule, wherein teams typically played twice a weekend. This year, each squad will play 5 games in a format that should be familiar to anyone who has taken in a double IHF World Championship. That regular season and the postseason will all take place in a 2-week marathon. There will be varying degrees of rust on display, but that should be abated by the practices teams have been holding to prepare for the season in whatever form it may take since September. Still, the result of at least the regular season will depend on which teams get into gear and which struggle out of the starting block. So, existing chemistry. It wouldn't be a stretch to say that the abbreviated season presents a unique challenge for the league's newest franchise, the Toronto Six. Fortunately for the Six, they've been on the ice for months now, since August, before all other teams hit the ice. They also have an abundance of players with post-collegiate hockey experience, 4 of whom are skaters with NWHL experience. Furthermore, 7 of the Six's skaters competed in a U18 World Championship tournament, the most of any NWHL team entering the bubble. Some of these include Sarah Evkatu Godbout and Lindsay Eastwood. That could come in handy. The Minnesota Whitecaps have the most players returning from last year's roster, being 18, which could give them an edge in terms of pre-existing chemistry. Bringing back the dynamic duo of Ali Thunstrom and Jonna Curtis should go a long way for the Whitecaps. The same can be said for the Pride, bringing back Jillian Dempsey and McKenna Brand, and the Riveters having Madison Packer and Kate Leary for another year. The team that might struggle the most in the early stages of the season is Buffalo. The Buttes have just 9 players returning from last year's roster, which underwent a massive overhaul in the 2019 offseason, with general manager being brand new, Nathaniel Oliver. Corin Bowie is now at the Whitecaps, so there may be less glue holding together a roster with 9 rookies than there was last year. Now, obviously, one of their leading faces still, or maybe 2, I should say, Kelsey Newman and Taylor Acursi. Anyways, continuing on. Still, this is a team with a ton of potential, and most of the key figures from the 2019-20 squad are still here, going hard. Chances are this is going to feel like playoff hockey as soon as teams get up to speed. Every player going to Lake Placid will know that there is no time to waste, and that momentum means everything in a condensed schedule like this. Players are going to go hard. Injuries are bound to happen in hockey, and in playoff hockey, they are all but inevitable. This season is more a sprint than a marathon, but roster depth will still be a factor. No team wants to find itself in the position of having to play with a short bench because of injuries and or players being quarantined due to the coronavirus. In the past, NWHL teams have signed players to professional tryout agreements to temporarily fill a hole in the roster, but that will be off the table in Lake Placid because of the protocols that are in place, and if it isn't, it should be. Now we're returning face, and we talk about the 2019-20 roster. Jordan Jern returns to the Buffalo Buttes. She spent a brief tenure with the PWPA, and then returned to the Boston Pride for the playoffs, and wanted to return full-time this year after she was lured out of retirement to join the Buttes. Now, of course, that was due to injuries, not because of her age. Anyways, that also be said, the Riveters and Whitecaps both enter the bubble with 22 players under contract as of right now, the most of any team. Meanwhile, the Six currently have 20 players to update that part of the article, with 3 signed last week. That story at thepuckauthority.com, which I will read into more tomorrow on Six and Sticks. Anyways, meanwhile, the Pride are just slightly deeper with 20 players signed as of now. A couple of injuries to either team could prove to be disastrous. Don't be surprised if both teams look into adding a few bodies to provide some insurance before bags are being packed for New York. We also know that 95% of the players under contract have committed to going to Lake Placid. That means there are a handful who won't be there. That means that's one more reason why we will likely see a few signings again before January 23rd. The Riveters are known to have them. Connecticut's known to have them. Toronto could see 2 more at least being signed, neither of which will be a third goaltender, however. Anyways, hot goaltender. Let's get the obvious out of the way. Goaltending is important. It's the most important position in the sport. Through the league's 6 teams, the Whitecaps, the Pride, and the Whale have goalies who finished the 2019-20 season or the 2020 Isabel Cup playoffs as their team's bona fide starter. That means half the league could have open competitions for the starting role. That will definitely be something to keep a close eye on in the coming weeks, with less than a dozen games on the docket for each club, and WHL coaches will have more incentive than ever before to go with the hot hand. If it ain't broke, why risk trying to fix it when each game carries so much weight? Now, a goalie who gets into a groove could steal the show in Lake Placid and pave the way for multiple upsets. Of course, the superstar goaltenders such as Lovisa Solander or Amanda Levier could simply slam the door shut and pave a path straight to the Isabel Cup final for the Pride or Whitecaps, respectively. Now, those two were set to face each other in the Isabel Cup before COVID-19. However, the pandemic worsening canceled the tournament. Now, although that is the most likely scenario, nothing is impossible. After all, this is hockey we're talking about. Now, I will note that Samantha Ridgewell and Elaine Chuli, 2 strong goaltenders for Toronto, don't give up on Toronto. So it's something to keep in mind there. Now, that being said, there are a couple of other interesting articles in which Mike has done a really deep dive into, including why the NWHL and PWPA getting serious about analytics is important. He did that on December 29th, but I think I'm actually going to go with an article from Lane Strollo, which should probably close out today's session. If not, I will start to do a little bit of Mike Murphy's story with some greater background from the NWHL and its going-ons before we move forward. So that being said, let's delve into this article from Leon a little bit. Boston Pride defender Mallory Suliotis, who is headed into her 3rd season in the NWHL, first met Julia, a local youth player with epilepsy, during the summer of 2019. Julia's mom reached out to Suliotis with an invitation to the Slap Out Epilepsy Hockey Clinic at Phillips Andover. Last summer, which seems like an eternity ago, so non-pandemic summer, the mom of a local hockey-playing girl reached out to me and was wondering if I would be interested in attending, she said. There were a bunch of local NHL players. The girl Julia, her older cousin, is New York Rangers forward Chris Kreider. I was blown away by how positive and fun it was. Julia showed so much just during the event. She loves hockey and loves playing hockey with her friends and hanging out with them. She obviously has epilepsy, so seeing that positivity from her and that determination really inspired me to not only live my life like her, but also recognize how lucky I am to hopefully bring awareness. After attending, Suliotis instantly knew she wanted to do more. So for the 2019-20 season, she decided to donate her jersey and jersey proceeds to the Epilepsy Foundation New England. She's back at it for the 2020-21 season too, donating her proceeds, matching donations, and aiming to raise about $2,600, which is incredible. In an Instagram video, she says she picked that number to represent the 1 in 26 people who will be diagnosed with epilepsy during their lives. I'm trying to think of something to do with mine, kind of Venmo-wise, similar to what Sammy has done for her swimming polar plunge thing, she said. Anyways, again, that was about Sammy Davis, who is donating her jersey sales this year to the Travis Roy Foundation, so that people know they don't necessarily have to buy a jersey, because that only gets a couple of dollars if you add towards it. So I'm trying to spitball ideas. If any of you guys have any good ideas, let me know. I think if you guys come up with it, it will be hilarious. Suliotis directed this message towards fans and our staff alike. The money raised is just a bonus to the awareness and memories made with the Slap Out Epilepsy Hockey Clinic, according to Suliotis. The clinic is focused on benefiting the mission of the Young Leaders Network and providing support, advocacy, and outreach to youth affected by epilepsy. During the pandemic, she still went to visit Julia, dropping off gifts before procedure and making sure her donation check made it to the foundation. It was just there to spread a little bit of positivity, she said. Now, in a tweet she wrote, Julia is an incredibly strong and positive girl that continues to inspire me through her fight with epilepsy. Her battle has had its ups and downs and has impacted her ability to play hockey. She is why I'll be matching and donating all jersey sales this season. Bringing awareness and raising money for certain causes is not something new to Suliotis in her professional career either. During her time at Yale, she was part of multiple organizations that helped those in need. It's just about using my platform to make someone's life better. In high school, I went to prep school, and part of the motto was leadership for the public good. So that's something I've tried to incorporate into my life in different aspects, whether it's be the March and the Mandy Schwartz Foundation. I was heavily involved with that group at Yale, and I've worked with Break Ketchum Peel to put on some NWHL events with her, like how we did last year and the year before. So stuff like that has been really awesome because I think I can leave a positive mark somewhere to make someone's life better or to make someone smile. That's good enough for me, Suliotis said. So as we continue to kind of put a wrap on this story. Well, Suliotis has been doing this for years. The concept of using the NWHL platform for a good cause isn't unique to her or the handful of her Pride teammates doing something similar this year. Over the course of 5 seasons, we've seen NWHL players raise money for students' learning materials, suicide prevention causes, cancer research, and many more causes. In a job that is often a nights and weekends thing for these players, while they can only currently make at the most $1,500 or $15,000 salary from it, it may be hard for some to understand why they extend a hand even further to those in need. So continuing on now with that, she says, I think it's the idea that we're not just athletes, we're not just our full-time jobs. We like to be a part of the community, and that's the biggest thing when you look at the NWHL and the NHL, is that we're so heavily involved in the community, whether that's running clinics or doing different theme nights or getting involved with us, like the Boston Public Schools, Suliotis said. I know other teams have done things like Shannon Doyle has done blocks for books just to be involved in those sort of things. But I know that in the NHL, they're also involved. Take PK Subban since he donates so much money back to Montreal Children's Hospital and stuff like that. I think it's for us, for the NHL guys, it's not about the money. It's about bringing awareness and giving back to a community that's giving you so much and supports you day in and day out. She even supported her teammates' cause by joining Sammy Davis for a 10-second swim in the ocean on a December day and donating $50 to the Travis Roy Foundation, as well as helping Davis learn the logistics of donating your merchandise profits to the league. So she said, it makes me feel a little bit better if I'm about to give back and make someone else's day, but it definitely does give some good visibility for us as a league when you have me and Sammy and other players doing fundraising type of things, she said. It's so much bigger than hockey, and I'm so grateful that we get to use our platform for good, and we get to show people what's important to us, Davis added. Even if you can't donate, I think donating your time is so much more valuable than donating your money. That's just a bonus part. I think raising awareness is just so great. So if you want to pump up or jump in the water one day, that's amazing to me. Like retweet, whatever it is. Ultimately, I just want people to laugh and smile. Suliotis, Davis, and the rest of their team are gearing up for the 2-week bubble season in Lake Placid, where they will play games at the famous Herb Brooks Arena. And the buzzword about how everyone is feeling among players seems to be goosebumps. The season is going to happen, and for it to happen in Lake Placid is pretty awesome. I think it's an iconic place where so much hockey history took place. I think I speak for a lot of hockey fans and hockey players when I say that if you watch Miracle and you don't get goosebumps when they win and they show the real clips, I think there's something wrong with you, Suliotis said. I still get goosebumps, and I've seen it multiple times, so I think I'm going to get some goosebumps when we first step on the ice there. It's going to be an incredibly intense, fun, and awesome experience, and it's going to be great for the league and women's hockey in general. The Boston Pride, who have only lost one game last season, were projected to win the Isabel Cup before the championship game was canceled, as it was scheduled right as COVID-19 began spreading in the United States and, more so the New England area back in March. Needless to say, that has made the returning players for the Pride that much hungrier to succeed in Lake Placid. It'll be a long time since our last game, so I think as a team, we're really looking forward to actually getting on the ice and competing against someone that isn't us. So I think it's a long time, but we'll be ready when the time comes. If you would like to support Sulio's cause, you can purchase her jersey or jersey or donate directly to Epilepsy Foundation New England. All these are available at shop.nwhl.zone. So that being said, she has shared the link on her Instagram as well. Meanwhile, I'm sure you can find it on her Twitter. So that really brings us to pretty much the ending of today's episode. There was some news coming out from the first Canadian team to be involved. And with that being said, I will get into that tomorrow again on 6 and 6 right here on the BarnBurner TV network and Zingo TV channel 250. Last but not least, let me add on that FC Buffalo is also heading into the NWHL bubble with the Buffalo Beauts. This was only announced this morning, hence why I missed it. So I will get into that. Then the rest I will save for tomorrow. And Open Ice returned with Gamer Doc with Sarah Bustad, as well as Madison Packer. So I will get into quotes from that conversation next week. So this is how I'm going to end today's show with FC Buffalo, and then we'll go from there. So FC Buffalo knows the difficulties of keeping a sports team going during a pandemic, and we're thrilled to announce that we're supporting the Buffalo Beauts of the National Women's Hockey League team this season via fan-face cutouts. And we want you representing us at the legendary 1980 rink Herb Brooks Arena in Lake Placid too. We have purchased a number of cutouts to place in the stands for the NWHL season in Lake Placid, and we're giving away a few to fans while also putting players, staff members, and perhaps even Wolf Blitzer in the Lake Placid bubble to cheer on the Beauts alongside John Buccigross. The NWHL's bubble season takes place in Lake Placid from January the 23rd to February the 5th. To be eligible for selection for one of our fan-face cutouts, post a photo of you, preferably decked out in FC Buffalo gear, on social media and tag us at either or all of twitter.com/FCBuffalo, Instagram.com/FCBuffalo, and Facebook.com/FCBuffalo. Make sure we can see it. Make the post shareable or public. FC Buffalo is proud that Buffalo is fortunate to have one of the 6 NWHL teams, said FC Buffalo co-owner Nicholas Mendola. The Beauts are a founding member and a 4-time finalist, no less, in the backyard of one of the best hockey towns in the world. As the club in a rising sport who underwent intense precautions to play in 2 tournaments last summer, we understand the tremendous challenges of playing the sport we love safely during a pandemic, and we want to do everything we can to help support the Beauts in their quest to become the first team to win 2 Isabel Cups. Beauts fan faces remain available for order until January the 15th at nwhl.zone/tickets. We are very thankful for the support that FC Buffalo has shown the Beauts, said Buffalo GM Nate Oliver. It's wonderful to have partners within our own city who believe in women's hockey and who are encouraging us to bring another championship home to Buffalo. Mendola says he hopes FC Buffalo supporters join him in Lake Placid. I was fortunate to have Beauts goalie Kelsey Newman as a teammate for some summers hockey a few years ago, and I admire everything I've grown to learn about her teammates' dedication to a sport I love so much. So again, the linking of arms, the showing of support, it all really comes together in the end as, significant for the industry of women's sports, because eventually the gathering of getting together is going to only raise the platform of professional women's sports. And so with that, they'll be able to encourage, the coverage of women's sports to go beyond that 4% and get on, primetime television, which will up the 4%, despite the fact that they're already on CBS or whatever have you, without that. Meanwhile, you don't see women's sports highlights often on, Sports Center, Sportsnet, Central, whatever it may be, NHL Network. So, the coming together and, raising one another's platform is going to be that significant step that, hits the above 4% mark and get women's sports for the professional level where it rightfully deserves to be, whether you're the WNBA, the NWSL, the NWHL, but great developments have been had. The WNBA played in Disney, as did the NBA this summer in a bubble, with all the proper precautions, amenities, and so on. The NWHL is doing that in Herb Brooks Arena. The NWSL held theirs, I believe it was in Utah, their championship to get the season over. And they pulled it off, no problems. They had sponsors to take care of them. And the financials, in the end, it all just came together. So, something certainly significant. And we're only going to continue to see the growth and development of pro women's sports. But for the NWHL, make sure you're tuning in on Twitch and NBCSN, and maybe we'll have a Canadian network for you. That news perhaps to come before January 23rd. So that does it for this episode of the NWHL Cooldown right here on the BarnBurner TV network and Zingo TV channel 250. Make sure you are tuning in here every Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time for your weekly roundup of everything National Women's Hockey League. You can follow me on Twitter at Justin Levine HBS for all your updates as it pertains to both the NWHL and the Toronto Six. And more than anything, follow at Puck Authority 1 for continuous content on the National Women's Hockey League from both myself and colleague Armand Klisevich. I have Toronto 6, my latest story out today, with input from Olympian Sammy Joe Small. That's at Puck Authority 1 and thepuckauthority.com. So from the NWHL experience right here on the BarnBurner TV network, my name is Justin Levine.